On this episode of the Threeview, brought to you by RapscallionsReport, we watched the film Doghouse.
The basic premise for this movie was take some of Shaun the Dead, take some of Evil Dead, and then mix in a whole lot of misogyny.
Today's movie was Doghouse. It is a British comedy horror.
This is an army of pissed off, man-hating, feminists, cannibals.
I really like the one with the axe.
She's married.
So the movie basically is about these 6 douchebags who go to this town to find women to get laid. And I thought to myself, that sounds a little misogynistic. I wonder how bad this is going to be. And it ended up being increasingly misogynistic, I think, as the film went on.
In the beginning, when they introduced the characters, they paused on them and had like these character cards with their names pop up, and it got all like graphical and artsy. I felt like that was a really amateur effect. Like, we've done it on Rappers Report and it just kind of looks shitty.
The direction, well, really, the whole movie was very much a tribute to Sam Raimi and his style of filmmaking, especially Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, that whole thing.
Throughout the film, they reference Evil Dead like 2-3 times. So, considering their references to that movie or movie series and the overall feel of the movie, I think it hit its mark.
The tone of it is like a cheesy but also tongue-in-cheek kind of very Shaun of the Dead influenced buddy movie, I guess you could say.
She doesn't know we're coming, does she?
Well, see, I did say that. Listen, man, look, she's gone for 2 weeks. I know where the key is.
Oh, Jesus, this just gets better and better, doesn't it?
The special effects overall were practical, mostly. There was very little CG that I noticed, and if it was CG, it wasn't bad enough for me not to notice. A lot of practical blood effects and things. The only effects that I thought weren't particularly well done is that they had a couple fake severed heads throughout the movie, and 2 of them looked kind of cheap. Like, they just looked like a mannequin that they threw a little bit of latex over or something.
For the special effects, I didn't see much like CG or anything, and I like that it seemed like a lot of practical kind of effects. The makeup and that sort of thing was very good. I liked it.
At first, the makeup seemed fairly cheesy, but again, if you have the Evil Dead mindset, the way they, like the shape of the foreheads and the makeup, and I think it was pretty good. It was a really good homage.
So the acting was alright, I guess. They all did an okay job. It's hard to judge it as bad acting sometimes because it was such a cheesy movie that really didn't take itself seriously at all.
I thought the acting on the part of zombies was kind of fun.
Some of the actors I knew in it, so I kind of knew it was going to be on the goofy side.
They did sort of an Evil Dead thing in that they weren't so much stiff. Like, each of the zombies had their own personality and style. There was a hair-cutting stylist zombie. There was the bride zombie. They all kind of had their own thing, and each of the actresses portrayed them a little differently. Some were a little more animated than others, and I liked that. Added to the general personality and feel of the film as being kind of a silly horror movie, a little bit like Evil Dead, although the silliness of the film went a little too far in some cases.
Throughout the movie, there is a really heavy-set, fat zombie lady that they kept poking fun at.
When the fat lady jumped,
And there's one part where a guy falls off a roof. Actually, he falls off a ladder.
and they had like almost what was it?
And as he's lying there trying to, catch his breath, the zombie does this dramatic belly flop and lands on him.
I don't remember. But when the lady jumped, they had a very funny sounding sound effect that reminded me of something from the 80s, and I appreciated that.
That was just kind of funny.
shoot someone, you fucking monkey's arse ring!
But I was not a fan of the overall message of the film. No, that I seem to get from the plot, which is go ahead and be a douchebag, treat women like crap, because all they want to do, as one character says in the speech near the end, is control men and use them like pets and ruin them.
I mean, there is kind of a message, but it's just kind of like, nice guys finish last, don't be a pet to anyone.
It just felt like the message they were trying to portray was incorrect and kind of offensive, honestly, and it just didn't care for it.
All in all, I'd say it was a pretty good film. I laughed a couple times, actually. I would recommend it.
I really don't have much to say about it. It's just not all that great.
I'm not really sure that I can recommend the movie. I wish that I could, because there were some things that were interesting in it, but it's just not really worth it overall, I would say. No, I wouldn't recommend it.
If I were J-Quest, I would have castrated at least one character just for dramatic effect. But he dropped the ball on it. Or he kept the ball.